And welcome in, everyone. Steve Lennox on Baseball live stream podcast as we recap day number 44 of the Major League Baseball regular season. Waking up on this Saturday morning, it's Paul Skeens Day. Yes, Paul Skeens is going to make his Major League debut later this afternoon with the Pirates at home. Skeens up from AAA. Announcement earlier this week. He's going to start today and had it on overnight with the MLB Network. His start is going to be on the MLB Network this afternoon from PNC Park in Pittsburgh. Looking forward to that one. A lot of people are looking forward to that one. That's baseball in just a moment. We start with our next card up. We've gone through 11. We've got 4 to go. Card number 12 today. And with that, our 2023 Topps baseball card set, opened it up, started it going about a little, almost, well, we're 12 cards in. So we missed one day in there, and we get to it. Emmanuel Clase was our card for Friday as we opened up and unveiled that one. And today we've got Albert Amora, Cincinnati Reds card. There we go. So Buster Kennedy, Albert Amora, Adley Rutschman, Johan Duhan from the Twins, Aaron Judge. Those are our cards so far. Handful of others in there as well, including Fernando Tatis, who was one of the stars of MLB. And in there as well was Christian Yelich, who got back in the lineup this week for the Milwaukee Brewers. Great one for the Brewers last night. We'll get into that in just a moment. That's baseball. And went to bed well after 1 a.m. Lost the cush ball there for the Kansas City Royals. So, let's pick that up. Went to bed last night thinking, what am I going to do? But yesterday, I'll call it a productive day. Finally wrapped up a book that I was reading, They Bled Blue, Jason Turbo's book on the 1981 Los Angeles Dodgers team that ended up winning the World Series against the Yankees. Lost the first 2 games, came back and won the next 4 to kind of revenge or exact a curse that the Yankees had gotten them so many times, both in Brooklyn and since the move in the late 1950s to Los Angeles. But the Dodgers got him in 1981. Jason Turbo does a terrific job. Next book up, there's actually 2 on the list for Jason Turbo for me. One is on the Oakland A's, Reggie, Raleigh, Catfish, Charlie O as well. Want to get that one. But forgot and reminded myself last night as I was going through some of Jason Turbo's things in his bio. He's got a memoir out from 2022 on Kenny Loggins called Still All Right. And I think that would be a fantastic read. So that's on the list for down the road. But They Bled Blue, great stories from – you go around that Dodger infield that really got going in the 70s and I think dating back to the late 1960s as those guys joined the organization. And Garvey, Lopes, Russell, Say on the infield. 81, they all understood that the end was coming. Garvey would end up leaving via free agency, going to the San Diego Padres. Ron Say would leave. Lopes would leave. Russell would stick around, ended up being the man who replaced Tommy Lasorda when Lasorda finally stepped down. But it was interesting. A couple of interesting things in there that dawned on me as I was reading the late stages of the book. 83, 82, 83, 84, the first 3 World Series that I watched. But that 84 Cubs team under manager Jim Fry went to the postseason to play the San Diego Padres. So it was Garvey on one side with the Padres, and it was Say, Lopes, Jay Johnstone, and Rick Sutcliffe was another that was on the other side for the Chicago Cubs. Cubs did not beat the Padres in that series, and it was the Padres going on to the World Series and losing to the Detroit Tigers. But great stories from Jason Turbo in his book, They Bled Blue. Wrapped that up, took it back. It was a library book. It's not up there on the shelf. It was a library book. Took that back late afternoon on Friday. Some great Dusty Baker stories from Dusty Baker's time with the Dodgers. And all those guys that I mentioned left the Dodgers, and none of them left the Dodgers on great terms. And they won the World Series together in 81. And again, it dawned on them as they were winning the World Series, very emotional World Series against Reggie Jackson, Greg Nettles, Ron Guidry from that 81 team. But they all understood that things were going to be broken up. And it took a few years, but very few players, you go 7 years later where Tommy Lasorda was there, very few players from that 81 team were still with the Dodgers in 88 when they won the World Series against the Oakland A's. But plenty of, I mentioned Dusty Baker, but plenty of stories in there as well on Tommy Lasorda. Tommy Lasorda, bleeding Dodger blue. That's baseball. And I do encourage you to pick that one up. Jason Turbo, They Bled Blue, story of the 1981 Dodgers, the history of the Dodgers as well. One of many Dodger books that I've read over the years. That's baseball. Tommy Lasorda, one of the all-time characters in baseball. And, just the history of him with that organization, just tremendous. We recap day number 44 of the Major League Baseball regular season. Dodgers did get underway last night in San Diego against the Padres. Mentioned on Friday that interesting series this weekend for the Padres, looking up at the Dodgers, for the Rays looking up at a lot of teams in the AL East, and the Mets looking up at the Phillies and the Braves at the start of Friday's action. The Mets are now looking up at the Phillies, Braves, and Washington Nationals and that NL East. And it's still early in the season. We haven't hit Memorial Day, but for those three teams, the Padres, Mets, and you could probably throw in a couple of others, but they do have series against teams in their division this weekend that they're looking up at. And they may already have designs. Okay, if we're going to make it to the postseason in October, it's not the division. It's going to be one of the wild card spots. So the Padres did take care of business last night, and they did it in interesting fashion. Tyler Glasnow, outstanding for the Dodgers. Michael King, outstanding for the Padres, both taking no decisions. The Padres able to pick up the victory in walk-off fashion. Luis Arraez, first game with the Padres in his home ballpark since the trade from the Marlins to the Padres. RBI base hit. 2-1 the final. Padres pick up the victory against the Dodgers, a loss snapping the Dodgers' 7-game win streak. Arraez, again, Petco Park, game-winning RBI base hit in the bottom half of the ninth inning. King for the Padres, 7 scoreless innings. He was part of the Juan Soto deal and a big part of that Juan Soto deal, and he's pitching very well for San Diego. King 7 scoreless, 11 strikeouts. Glasnow gave up a run on a solo home run to Luis Campusano. Glasnow struck out 10. Dodgers managing just 4 hits. Padres managed 3 hits and managed the 2-1 walk-off victory as well. Yankees and Rays. So the Padres win. The Rays do not win against the Yankees. In fact, shut out at the Trop in St. Pete. Anthony Rizzo breaking a scoreless tie. Rizzo RBI base hit in the 4th inning. Rizzo adding to the 1-0 lead with a solo home run in the 9th inning. And that turned out to be the enough. Clark Schmidt. Yankees blanking the Rays 2-0. And I mentioned recently, after a Schmidt start, that I'd like to see him start, let's see if he starts going a little deeper. He was 5 innings, 5 1/3. I think he might have gotten to 5 2/3 last night. Schmidt working into the 7th inning for the first time this season, went 6 2/3, gave up 5 hits, all singles, no runs. Yankees with the win have now won 6 of 7. Schmidt struck out 6, walked 2, his longest outing of the season, 87 pitches, 57 for strikes. Clay Holmes gave up a couple of walks and a hit in the 9th inning. Holmes doesn't really walk anyone, but walked 2 last night. Did manage to get the final out, stranding the bases loaded in the 9th inning. He picked up the save, his 12th on the season. Holmes is still not allowed an earned run this season. And the Yankees picking up the victory, their 3rd shutout win of the season. And the Rays last night losing 2-0 at home, all of a sudden winning 5 in a row, now scuffling a bit. Rays shut out for the first time this year as well. Orioles opened up their series at home at Camden Yards against the Diamondbacks. 4-2 victory for the O's in the opener. Gunnar Henderson adding to the lead with an RBI double. That in the 7th inning. Cole Irvin, 5 2/3 innings. Irvin giving up 2 runs in the outing. He improves to 4-1 on the season with the victory. Ketel Marte home run in the loss for Arizona. Marte is now hit safely in 11 straight games, loss snapping Arizona's 4-game win streak as well. O's have now won 6 of 7, 8 of their last 10. Craig Kimbrell, interesting here, worked a 1-2-3 inning, did not work the 9th, worked the 7th inning. Yennier Cano gave up a leadoff double in the top of the 9th inning, but was able to secure the final outs of that game, and he picked up the save. Kimbrell, again, working the 7th, and worked a scoreless inning. That's great to see. Does he return to that closer role for the Orioles? We're going to have to wait and see on that one. The Reds, all good things come to an end. The Reds last night ending their 8-game losing streak. 4-2 victory against the Giants in the Bay Area. Spencer Steer, 2 hits, 2 RBI. Stuart Fairchild, 2 out, pinch hit, inside the park home run in the 8th inning. Ellie De La Cruz, 2 hits, 2 runs scored, 2 more stolen bases to give him 25. Reds as a team now tied with the Nationals. Nationals had 4 stolen bases last night, and both teams now with 66 stolen bases on the season. Top of the 3rd at Citi Field Friday night. 2-out magic for the Atlanta Braves. Ronald Acuna Jr., The Albies, back-to-back two-out home runs against Jose Quintana. 2 batters later, Matt Olson, a 2-run shot. That made it 4-0. All the Braves would need as they picked up a win in the series opener at Citi Field against the Mets, winning 4-2. All 3 home runs with 2 outs against Quintana. Charlie Morton, 1 run allowed over 7. Morton now 3-0 with the victory. And the Braves, 12 errors on the season, fewest in the majors over their first 35 games. Last night playing errorless baseball in the victory in New York against the Mets. Mariners returning home, found a victory, 8-1 over the A's in the series opener. Dylan Moore had a night, 3 hits, including a 2-run home run. He knocked in a career-high 5 runs. Mariners hitters, a lot of holes in that lineup. They won the game 8-1. They struck out 11 times. The numbers aren't pretty. 410 strikeouts, most for any big league team right now. 410 strikeouts through 39 games. Mariners are now 3 over 500. They have struck out 10 or more times in 5 straight games. In those 5 straight games, they have struck out a total of 64 times. They have struck out 10 times or more, 27 times this season. Steve Phillips, listening to the morning show on SiriusXM on Friday, he talked about them striking out 15 times the night before. 4th time this year they did that. So I went back and looked up those numbers, and they're not pretty. And Steve Phillips kind of said, this is a team that made some moves during the offseason hoping to cut down on strikeouts. That hasn't happened so far. Again, they've struck out 10 or more times in 27 games this season. I know, numbers. We give you a lot of them. Those numbers we're going to pay attention to for the Seattle Mariners. Another W for the Twins. Twins winning north of the border Friday night, opening up a series against the Blue Jays with a 3-2 victory. Max Kepler off the bench, RBI base hit in the top of the 9th inning. That gave the Twins a 3-1 lead. Jays got a run in the 9th inning. Griffin Jacks, though, got the final out, left the potential tying and winning run stranded on base. Joe Ryan, terrific, allowing just 1 run over 7 for Minnesota. Ryan, no walks, 7 strikeouts, his second win on the year. Kepler has now hit safely in 12 straight games. Twins 16-2. 16-2, 12-game win streak in that stretch. Over their last 18 games, they have won 7 in a row away from home. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, 3 hits, including a solo home run, knocked in both runs for the Blue Jays, who have now dropped 6 of their last 8. Astros back-to-back wins with Friday's victory, 5-2 over the Tigers. Astros 4 runs in the 8th inning. Framber Valdez, 2 runs allowed over 7, picking up the victory. Valdez now 2-1 with the win. Casey Mize gave up just a run over 6, took a no decision. Mize gave up a solo home run to Kyle Tucker in the 6th inning. Tucker, home run number 12 on the season. Tigers have dropped 6 of 7 and at 500 now at 19-19. Phillies opening up a series in Miami against the Marlins. 8-2 victory over Miami. Phillies out hitting the Marlins 15-5 in the opener, and they have now won 8 of 9. Ranger Suarez now 7-0 on the season, pitching to a 1.50 ERA. Suarez 7 shutout innings, gave up 3 hits, walked 2, struck out 9. Suarez 4th scoreless outing of the season. Remember, he had 3 in a row at 1 point complete, including a shutout victory in that stretch. Trevor Rogers showed some frustration on camera, kind of taking things out on the dugout. He gave up 4 runs, 3 earned, took the loss, and Rogers now, Suarez is 7-0. Rogers at the other end, 0-6 on the year. Johan Rojas, 3 base hits in the win for Philadelphia. Rojas, Nick Castellanos, both homering in the victory. Carl Schwarber, a couple hits, 2 RBIs, and the Phillies 19-4 over their last 23. On the highlights last night on the MLB Network, heard Tom McCarthy on the Phillies TV broadcast saying Nick Castellanos heating up, and we're getting into May, so weather's getting warmer and more consistent across the country. Castellanos is heating up. I think you're going to find that with a lot of players going forward. Patrick Corbin, 1 run allowed over 5, picked up his first win of the season. Nationals 5-1 victory against the Red Sox at Fenway. Turned this one on at one point, middle innings. The Nationals already had the lead. Tanner Houck pitched well, 3 runs allowed, and he took the loss as he just did not get the run support. Red Sox scoring just 1 run in the outing, but there was just no vibe to the game. Friday night at Fenway, you'd think, okay, it's going to, there's going to be an atmosphere. And just on the broadcast last night, just didn't get that sense at all. Corbin, again, the win, 5 relievers backing him up, combining for 4 scoreless innings of relief. Houck, mentioned him giving up 3 earned runs over 7, taking the loss to fall to 3-4 on the season. And the Red Sox scuffled with runners on base throughout the course of the game and left 11 stranded total. Red Sox have now gone 3 straight games without a home run. Not a lot of pop right now in that lineup. They've hit just 2 home runs over their last 10 games. Sox have now lost 6 of 7. That one win last Sunday in Minnesota, snapping the Twins' 12-game win streak, the Sox scored 9 runs in that victory. And there's 6 losses over this stretch where they've lost 6 of 7. They've scored a total of 7 runs. Nationals 4 more stolen bases, tied with the Reds for 66 to lead Major League Baseball. For the second time this season, the White Sox have won 3 straight games. White Sox come up with a 6-3 victory against the Guardians on the South Side Friday night. And with that, they've won the first 2 games of that series against Cleveland. Garrett Crochet turned in a strong outing. Crochet walked 1, struck out 11. And that was a season high over 6 shutout innings. Paul DeJong, Corey Lee, Andrew Vaughn, all hitting solo home runs for the White Sox. White Sox, they've won 3 in a row for the second time this year. They've won 5 of 7, their best stretch so far. Lee and DeJong back-to-back in the 7th inning. Tyler Freeman, Jose Ramirez, home runs in the loss for the Guardians. I mentioned Michael Kopech Friday about possibly being a trade candidate. Crochet, young pitcher, a terrific talent. But I'm wondering, maybe it's not this year. I'm wondering, do the White Sox see him as a part of the future overall when they finally get back to winning? And it's going to take a little time. But is Crochet a guy that they could move for bigger pieces of the puzzle, guys that are maybe at AA right now? I'm not saying the White Sox need to trade him, but I'm curious to see this year, next year, what they see with Crochet. Is he a guy they can get value for since he's under control for a handful of years going forward? Or is he a guy they kind of build around for when they are ready to compete again in that AL Central? Is Crochet part of that rotation, number 1 or number 2 or number 3 guy in that rotation going forward? Cubs, a run in the 6th, 4 more in the 7th, 7-2 victory against the Pirates on Friday at PNC Park. Cubs won despite committing 3 errors in the game. Miguel Amaya broke a 2-2 tie, RBI 6th inning for Amaya. That in the 6th, as I mentioned, Cody Bellinger, 4 for 5, couple of doubles, solo home run. 2 runs scored. Jared Jones gave up 3 runs, 2 earned, took the loss, now 2-4 on the season. Pirates just 1 for 12 with runners in scoring position and losing their 3rd straight game. Paul Skeens Day in Pittsburgh. He gets the start, Major League debut for the Pirates later today against the Cubs as they continue that series. Speaking of Major League debuts, if Skeens can pitch like Robert Gasser did Friday night for Milwaukee, Pirate fans are going to go home happy later on this evening in Pittsburgh. Willy Adames, 3 doubles, knocked in 2, scored a pair of runs. Robert Gasser, Major League debut, 6 scoreless against the Cardinals in his big league debut. Brewers scored 5 in the 5th inning, 4 more in the 7th inning to break it open, beat up on the Cardinals 11-2. Gasser gave up just 2 singles against that Cardinals lineup that is just scuffling right now. Gasser walked no one, struck out 4, and picking up the victory. With the loss, the Cardinals have now lost 6 in a row and 8 of 9. Rhys Hoskins, Jake Bauers both contributing with 2 hits and 2 RBIs. Brewers have won 7 in a row against St. Louis. That dates back to last season. Paul Goldschmidt was not in the lineup on Thursday in the series opener at Milwaukee. Had an off day with the rainout against the Mets on Wednesday. Didn't help. Goldschmidt 0 for 4 on Friday. So out of the lineup on Thursday, back in the lineup Friday, 0 for 4. Now hitless in his last 28 at-bats. For the first time this season, the Rockies have won 2 in a row. We're into May. Weather's warming up, and the Rockies have won 2 in a row. Lou Brown would say if they win today, that's a win streak. Rockies open up their series Friday night, 4-2 victory against the Rangers. Charlie Blackmon breaking a 2-2 tie with a 2-run double in the bottom of the 8th inning. Jalen Beeks did what Jalen Beeks needed to do. Took the mound with the lead in the 9th inning. Rockies have not played winning baseball this year. Again, they've won 2 in a row for the first time this season. But Beeks came in, retired the Rangers in order in the 9th inning to close it out. Corey Seager, solo home run in the 6th inning, and walked with the bases loaded in the 7th to account for the 2 RBIs for Texas. Royals, Adam Frazier, 2-run home run off reliever Carlos Estevez in the top of the 9th inning. Royals come back, beat the Angels 2-1 in Anaheim. They go up 2-0 in that 4-game series. Frazier, first home run of the season. Joe Adell home run for the Angels, a solo shot, his 6th on the year. That came in the 5th inning and accounted for the only run of the night for the Angels. Royals 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position, leaving 8 runners on base. Even uglier for the Angels, 0 for 14. Angels 0 for 14 with runners in scoring position, and they left 7 runners on base as well. Braves, Mets continue their series in New York. Yankees and Rays continue their series in St. Pete tonight. Dodgers, Padres. Dodgers will be looking to even up that series. And again, as we haven't mentioned enough already, Paul Skeens makes a start today. Believe first pitch 4:05. It's going to be carried nationally on the MLB network. It is Paul Skeens Day for the first time at the big league level. Jones, Skeens, and he's not the savior. He's obviously number one pick, but Skeens is certainly going to be a big part of that team going forward. And it'll be interesting to see how the Pirates respond to him offensively tonight. Do they give him an early lead perhaps against the Cubs? And let's see what they do over the next week to 10 days as well. Sugar's Random Thoughts brought to you by the Yellow Rose of Talbot Bed and Breakfast in Easton, Maryland. Considering a stay on the beautiful Maryland Eastern Shore this spring, summer, or fall, consider a stay at the Yellow Rose of Talbot Bed and Breakfast in Easton, Maryland. Can't beat the Maryland Eastern Shore. Tell my sister Tammy, tell my brother-in-law Kenneth that I sent you their way. Leadoff walks, 2-out walks in the past, present, and I think in the future. Leadoff walks, 2-out walks, they'll certainly drive a manager, pitching coach, and certain members of a fan base to start drinking, some you would say, to excess. The Braves moved from Boston to Milwaukee to Atlanta. In Boston, they were also known as the Bees, the Doves, and the Nationals. Finishing up with Jason Turbo's book on the 1981 Dodgers, they bled blue. Steve Yeager, 2 home runs off Ron Guidry in the 81 World Series. Yeager had just 3 home runs and 42 regular season games for the Dodgers in 81, platoon behind the plate with Mike Sosa, who would end up taking over later on down the road as the manager of the Angels in Anaheim. Again, that's a wrap on day number 44 of the Major League Baseball regular season. Subscribe to the YouTube channel with interviews also available up there as well. Some great ones from the past and some great ones even recently with Jonathan Mayo, Rick Vaughn, longtime PR man for the Tampa Bay Rays organization, and author Eric Sherman as well. Also available on the X, formerly known as Twitter, the Twitter handle @LenoxOnBaseball. Enjoy your Saturday, everybody. We'll talk soon.